That's just what happens when you come out to record on Mill. But no, we started off mid-conversation. I want to welcome you guys to the first Watercooler podcast. You know, this is all recorded and edited off company time. But we were already kind of talking. James, you were saying that we've been on the team for about the same amount of time. How long have you been here?
Oh, I've been on Care Navigation since last March, so March of 2022. But I've been at Oscar for like 3.5 years, you know, but definitely was a like shifting moment in my life during that time. So it's been kind of cool to grow with the team and watch everyone else grow, you know. And if you guys could know, I am gesticulating a lot. So, yeah.
What were you doing before Care Nav? Were you just kind of, were you doing school? Were you working around? I mean,
well, before Care Navigation, I mean, being at Oscar for like 2 years before that, starting out as a care guide, and then moving my way up to a CE. Concierge expert, you know.
Yeah.
And just being on the escalation line, you know, having a lot of those difficult cases and everything. But before Oscar in general, I don't know, I kind of did a little bit of everything, from working at thrift stores to, at like one point, I was a door-to-door Kirby vacuum salesman.
Really?
Yeah, I did that for like a month. I think I did it for like a month and a half or 2 months, and then I got to this point where I hadn't made a single sale. We were in this super poor neighborhood out in like Elko, Nevada, and there was this old couple that's on like Social Security and stuff, and I'm like selling them so hard this $3,500 vacuum, which I knew they could not afford, right?
Yeah.
And they're getting ready to go through with it, and I just looked at them. I looked around, and I just was like, this is not right. So I just packed up my vacuum, and I said, I can't do this. I'm sorry. They're like, no, but we really want to. And I was like, no, I can't do this. I'm sorry.
You looked around, you were like, Hans, are we the baddie? You know, kind of.
Exactly. So, but I mean, like I said, it's kind of been all over the place working at Blockbuster. That was my first job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a relic of the past.
I know. It definitely dates me. But
How old are you?
I am 32.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
You look on the edge of 30.
Oh, well, edge of 30, I'll take that. You know, every time I get carded, I always tell the cashier, thank you. I'm like, thank you, it just makes me feel so young, you know.
Sorry, we're just picking back up. Just had to make sure the audio was good. But I wanted to kind of pick up this next part with just some questions I kind of had. Well, obviously I want to know when the obsession with capybaras started. You know, I think all the new people want to know at least.
So it's funny because like I really was not super into them, but what happened was this guy, Peter Bestoso, he worked at Oscar, and he basically created probably 90% of the emojis that everybody uses. Yeah.
Okay.
There was a room in Oscar Wilde and called A Best Rooma, and basically it was where a lot of the engineers and the tech guys that live in New York, they just went in there. They had kind of like a insider group where they just sat there and talked and, you know, made all of these emojis and stuff. But this guy really kind of welcomed me and made me feel a part of Oscar. And I mean, he
was your James.
Well, thank you. But he, he even made there's a 60, like the Jorth emojis is not my doing, right?
Really? I thought you like went to Photoshop one day and just like had
that was
work.
all this guy, and but every Friday he would do Cappy Friday in this room, and then he ended up leaving Oscar, and I just the goodness and the genuine niceness this guy had, I wanted to continue that, and so to kind of keep his impact on Oscar continuing, I kept that tradition of doing Cappy Fridays.
That's super neat.
Yeah.
And how long has he been gone for?
He's been gone for probably a year now. It's been a while, but yeah, he was pretty influential just with just like I said, with making me, because I've never been in this kind of environment, and I always kind of felt like an outsider when I got to this environment, you know, of corporate, but you know, and moving up and stuff like that. But just those, you never know what kind of little, kind of simple gestures, which, you know, we don't think may be a big deal, but may have a bigger impact on someone, you know. So that's how the Jorth thing. The Jorth thing was just, there was another guy named Jake Ruth. Him and Peter had this thing where Peter made a pewter emoji and a Jorth emoji, and so when they saw my LDAP get added, because they were the tech guys and stuff, when they saw that got added, they saw Jay Ruth and Jay Roth are so closely related, so that's when they made the Jorth emoji.
Leave it to the nerds.
Yeah, exactly.
To make it their own.
Yeah, and so then it just at this point, I think there's like 70 something Jorth emojis.
Yeah, it's some ridiculous number, and it just keeps growing. I didn't even know you can add your own until like a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Like when I started seeing those Anna memes pop up, or the pizza stuff.
Yeah. The Anna ones I'm definitely proud of. I think I've made probably like 30 something emojis, but I appreciate that we're able to kind of express ourselves through that, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean, if we had to do this job in like a regular office setting, it'd be doable, but it definitely wouldn't be as fun, I think. I mean, it comes with its own pros and cons.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, I hate the idea of going to an office, you know, being under fluorescent lights, having to go somewhere to like eat my lunch, come back, and like to make sure I have enough time to clock in. And no, I love the Slack room, and I've been in chat rooms my entire life anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, it's not any different than Discord, or I use something called it's one of the chat apps.
See, I'm
iOS.
old, so like I started out on AOL chat.
I still have an AOL email.
I still have, my dad is such an old man. He turns 75 today, but
holy cow.
Well,
happy birthday to him.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, Dr. Stephen Roth, happy birthday. But he still pays for AOL.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But no. But tell me more about kind of your poetry. So I wanted, we touched on that in with the specialist meeting.
Yeah.
We were just kind of throwing icebergs or
throwing icebergs at people.
You know what I mean? But that came out of nowhere, and I'm glad we kind of ended up postponing it, because I learned a lot about you and then everybody else. But I wanted to hear more about, you know, just where that started.
I mean, my writing's kind of always been in my family. My uncle is a big Hollywood screenwriter, and my dad's always been a poet, but also just a writer in general, you know.
Hold on.
And I remember.
Wait.
Sorry, James Bond car decided to interrupt us. But I don't know. I was like 15. I had a MySpace blog, and I just randomly, one of my friends had encouraged me to write poetry, so I tried it, and then I immediately fell in love with it, and it was awful. It was just terrible. It's funny, I still have all of those blogs and stuff from when I was a teenager, because weirdly holding on to them so that like someday when I have kids, when they turn like 15, I can print them out and give them to them and be like, see, like I was a teenager at one point, like you can talk to me about stuff. Sidetrack. But like one of the big things that kind of got me into poetry and stuff was that it's one of those artistic expressions where like I can't tell you I can't tell you how this feeling feels, right? Because everybody's feelings are so individual and unique to each other, right? But with poetry, it's one of those kind of artistic expressions where you could read a poem and you can say, I know what that feeling is.
Yeah.
You know?
And I guess it's kind of like trying to describe a color, like, to somebody.
Exactly.
It's like, how do you do that in like the technical nerdy sense? Or you can just kind of use your words, use your expression. I never really thought about it that way.
Yeah. So
I don't really bring too much to poetry. I just read it for what it is, and then I'm just like, well, what does this kind of mean to me?
Yeah.
And then I think about it for a little bit, and that's kind of it. But
and see, for me, like, for a while, when I first started and when, for kind of my early 20s, I was really trying to do it more in the way where it was like, I wanted you to know what I was talking about, you know, and I was very rhymey, which looking back now is a little cringy to me. But
cringy. We're all just figuring it out on
exactly.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I was kind of going through a major shift in my life that I started writing more prose kind of stuff, and I started just saying, you know what, I'm going to throw in a bunch of inside stuff that's going to make no sense to anybody, but it's going to make sense to me.
Yeah, it's like that poem you read.
Yeah.
With freaking out on the interstate. That's what stuck out to me. I remember a couple of months ago, I posted in one of the Slack rooms, just like, hey, I want to listen to some songs. You know,
yeah, that was great.
Give me some good stuff, and I still have that on my Spotify playlist. It's a banger.
Yeah.
But where did that song come from? What does it mean to you?
That song, well, I don't know. It was one of those songs that just hit. I'm a big believer in soundtrack songs. You know, these songs that randomly kind of come on throughout our life that kind of fit those moments really well. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is, it feels like that song belongs. You know, Freaking Out on the Interstate was definitely by Briston Maroney, if anyone wants to check it out. But was one of those ones. I'd just broken up with an ex-girlfriend of 3 years, and I had a lot of changes going on, you know, with trying to live on my own for the first time, you know. I've always lived with people, and this was the first time moving into an apartment by myself, and just having kind of all this kind of stuff going on, and I remember that song came on, and it's been a mainstay ever since.
Mm-hmm. Another recommendation.
Another recommendation.
No, yeah. I love soundtracks, like scores to scenes, like Alan Silvestri did the score for like Avengers, and then there's that scene where Wanda has to destroy the Mind Stone, and the OST like to that is just pretty powerful. Yeah. And then again, Hans Zimmer, his Interstellar soundtrack with the organ and just the repeated tone. It's just 3-4 notes, but it really hits, and it captures a feeling. And that's kind of how music is for me. I have trouble expressing my emotions, but then like you listen to a song and you can feel everything kind of. Yeah. It's its own poetry, I guess.
Totally. You know, that's the beauty of of life kind of in general is that if we only had one flavor of ice cream, then everyone would hate ice cream, you know? And so us, you know, being able to experience it through photography or music and the 1.5 million different genres of music, and then, you know, movies or books or whatever, you know, being able to get those different flavors that kind of fit whatever is happening within your life. Consistency kind of scares humans. You know?
What's that one Star Wars quote? Apathy is death.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know.
And what's next for you? Like, where do you see yourself in 10 years, 5 years?
Oh.
What's on the horizon?
Well, in 10 years, I mean, my ultimate, like, passion kind of goal thing is to open up like it would be a combo hybrid coffee shop and video store.
Okay.
Basically, it would be this kind of 90s themed video store where instead of like renting actually DVDs or whatever, you would just, when you created an account with us, it would be tied to like your Amazon or your Voodoo or whatever. But you would come in and I would commission local artists for all the new releases to like make them look like the box art and stuff, make it look like it came out in like the 80s and 90s, you know?
So each one of them or wherever you would have on display would be totally custom.
Exactly. And then so you could, you know, you'd grab you'd grab the movie, you'd bring it up, we'd ring it up, and it'd be like slightly discounted than if you actually like rented it directly, you know, or maybe you pay a little bit more, but you get to take that box art with you, you know, and then just, you know, I know that that's not entirely sufficient, so you would need the coffee shop to kind of supplement the income and stuff, but then you can do all of these kind of really cool little events, like we're gonna have like a movie screening there, you know, or have open mic nights and really encourage people and art show kind of stuff, you know, and make
like a hub.
Exactly.
I was coming here. I was just like, man, I hope we get like a good 15 minutes, a good 20 minutes at least. You know, just hoping for that. But we have 2 good recordings so far.
Yeah.
And you've just been super easy to talk to.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying the conversation.
Well, and just like hearing about your past, your dad, where you're from, what you want to do.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure everybody's gonna find that super interesting.
I can't wait for someone to interview you.
That could be the series finale.
Yeah, honestly.
When I quit, you know, eventually, if I quit, you know, I don't know how that goes down.
You do a mid-series finale.
Nah, I still got to get through everybody else first.
Yeah.
And you know, that's kind of what this whole thing is about, just introducing everybody to everybody else.
Yeah.
We need that third place, or we need a community, and it's, I guess, just strengthening that second place, the work environment. Yeah. But no, we can just wrap this thing up. Thank James for taking time to come out and interview. I know people don't really might want to talk about themselves for like 45 minutes, but thanks for doing it.
Yeah, I love talking about. I mean, I'm my favorite person.
Everybody is.
Exactly. Yeah, you know. So, and I don't know. I just I really appreciate. I really appreciate you taking the time and doing this sort of thing for all of us, you know. It says a lot about who you are.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for listening. If you want to check out the full thing, just download or just hit the link at the bottom. But otherwise, you guys have been great. And
don't hit the link. I say terrible things.
No, but thank you guys for tuning into the first episode.
Thank you guys.